As you know, I have reduced my meat intake somewhat, but I will say the reason I have done it is for the planet and for the starving kids in the third world, as well as poor parts of richer countries like the U.S. especially. But the thing about it is, um, like I said, what I'm replacing it with, that replacing it with well-produced eggs and dairy is similarly sustainable, if maybe a little bit less, but not. But actually, no, it's just about as sustainable as replacing with tofu. So, provided the dairy and eggs are farmed ethically. So, yeah. So, at the same time, I am really hoping that Impossible Foods meat, super meat, which is grown in labs, and that they both become more common. They've been able to create them. I'm really hoping that soon they'll be available at grocery stores because I'm gonna be, you know, eating that more of that and less actual meat. So I'll be glad for that. So I also do have to say something. In no way am I encouraging people in the third world to be dead at all. But as somebody who is from the Latino community, I have to say, and this I'm not meaning this as a generalization. I know that there are plenty of Latin people who now have fewer kids, and even some in the past have not had too many kids, and a lot want birth control. But some in certain countries and areas aren't allowed access to birth control, and in worse cases, raped and not allowed to have abortions due to oppressive governments often crunching down on their populations. I know that those are big factors too, but the fact is that quite a few Latin people value having lots of kids and don't believe in birth control as a cultural value. Not everyone does, but a large majority of Latin people are Catholic, and sadly, Catholic values of having large families and not using birth control are, a big part of Latin culture. And it's just a fact. This isn't generalization. Not all Latin people do that, but quite a few have. I've lived in the community before and I've seen it firsthand. So, my now, I'm not saying anybody should die in the present, certainly not, but I'm really hoping that as time goes on, and if the world can be healed, that people in certain communities, which like Latin people and African people now, since Africa has one of the fastest population growth rates and needs to change, as well as people in like parts of Asia, like India and China, really examine some of their culture's traditional values and think about possibly changing some things, like any culture or religious tradition that promotes having large families and or not using birth control or having abortions and or needs to really change, because there are way too many people in the world, and I really am hoping that the day doesn't come when everyone has to go vegan and every kid can only have one toy, because that, for one thing, that would be torture to most autistic people. So that really can't happen. So for now, though, there are enough toys and clothes and good food like meat to, like I said, not actual meat, but like I've explained it, to feed the world. So yeah, and as of now, it's overconsumption by the rich elites, not autistic consumption, that for us is important and is not equated with overconsumption, as I previously mentioned. That is the cause of resource depletion and of hunger and habitat destruction. So yeah, so yeah, so I'm hoping if in the future there are fewer people, and I'm really hoping that that is part of the future. That's nowhere near that now, but I'm hoping it is in the future, that maybe we can actually eat some more naturally produced meat. But until then, I fully support growing meat in laboratories and creating impossible burgers.